And now, live from our Smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert hosts. Edward Ed Parco, MBA, veteran, and president of Lending for Living. We'll give you something to chew on. Real Estate Jerky is on now.
That's my California.
Thanks for joining us here on Real Estate Jerky. I'm your host, Ed Parco, president of Lending for Living, along with Marlene Chaplin, my trusty sidekick and co-host. We're on the road and keeping you up to date on real estate and what's happening in our communities. Our studio is wherever we have a solid Wi-Fi connection, and our fabulous engineer, Mike Murray, and the rest of the supportive friends at iHeartMedia. We always bring you something to chew on at Real Estate Jerky. You can call or text me with questions at 209-404-1915, or you can email us at radio@realestatejerky. Hello, Marlene. Where are we going today?
I like how you said that. It's kind of stuttering.
It's almost like I've done it a couple of times.
Marlene.
In the same day.
Hi, Ed. Well, we're going someplace very, very private. Very private space.
The bedroom?
No, but you know how much I love to talk about sex.
Yeah, I know. I know. And so do other callers on other shows.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy last week, wasn't it?
A week before last.
Was it week? Oh, yeah, week before last. That's right. Yeah, it was.
Just seems like last week, I tell you.
Time flies when you're having fun. Can you believe it's June already?
Yeah. I mean, it's like when we had the election and everything.
Graffiti.
Graffiti's coming up this weekend, right? Or today or something?
It's today.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean.
We're going. We're going to be out there.
Are you?
It's a family affair.
Yeah. It's good. I know it's so much fun. I can't wait, actually. I can't wait. I love it. It's so much fun. And it's back at MJC, which I love it there.
Right.
I know other people really like the golf course not, but I loved it at MJ. Actually, I loved it downtown, but that's not going to happen again. So anyway, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Well, you mean the cruising's going to happen downtown, but
no, it's a parade. Don't say the word cruise.
Some cities actually have unoutlawed cruising because they think it's a racial thing. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, a couple of cities in California has said now you can cruise again because certain nationalities want to cruise. That's their thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Well,
and I'm like, I don't agree with cruising being outlawed in the first place.
No,
because I mean, people still are going to do it. So
no, you just make sure that if you saw that cop twice, okay, now I got to get off for a little while. Because I was that mom and I'm that grandmother. They want to cruise, they don't drive yet. Get in. You got something cool we're going to drive. Let's go.
Yeah, but I always like the 2-lane roads to cruise on.
Yes, absolutely.
I never got the McHenry, seeing how fast you can go and pass everybody. But I was a Turlock boy. So.
For us, it was Hanford and Visalia, and Mooney Boulevard is famous. So it was Hanford Main Street, main drag.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, now we got done with cruising. Now it's so hot out there. What are we going to do in our backyard?
Our backyard. Well, what we're going to do, it's so hot out there. And afterwards, and this is the thing that I missed most when I moved away from the Central Valley. I missed swimming at night, swimming at midnight. And yeah. And so we're going to the backyard. That's the private place. And we're going swimming pools. Yep.
That's the only thing I miss moving to the Brady house. It doesn't have one.
Yeah,
the other house, we had a really nice one.
You had a very nice one.
Yeah, I designed that one, by the way, and the yard and everything. They had it all set up,
It was beautiful. It was awesome. I miss not having a pool. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't miss not. Although our guests today, they do have pool service as well. They've kind of one-stop shop now.
That's how it should be. I mean, because when you put a pool in, you want to try to find something. The biggest headache is if you put a spa in, nobody wants to service that because the chemicals are so weird on it.
And it's hard. Yeah,
it's hard to keep it.
Yep.
But for like us, the problem with our Brady backyard, because the yard has been used up so much with the master bedroom, the garage that was put on, there isn't a lot of room, and you get into the easement of the high line, where the power lines are, and they're like, "Oh, we can only put one in this size." Really?
So you could do a spool,
which is okay. That's all we want.
It's very cool.
That's all we want. But I mean, it's like, or I could go get one of those, and they probably don't do it, but one of those shipping container pools. Have you seen them?
What?
They cut a shipping container in half and then turn it into a pool.
Oh, yes. Actually, that's what my cousin down in Palm Desert because they recirculate the water. It's so freaking hot down there, right? Your pool would be a bathtub in no time. So I didn't even know this was a thing. Did you know this was a thing?
About recirculating your water?
Yeah,
No,
to make
but I
it
knew
cold.
about it. Yeah.
And it's the container. They use the container and they insulate.
It's amazing. Actually, I don't know who makes them in the States, but
super
somebody made
amazing.
them in Australia when the first time I saw
Hey,
them.
well, that's a gas thing. But we don't have that problem up here like they do down there. Or the reverse, when it's really cold temperature and they want to maintain the heat in the pool. That's, I guess, where, I mean, my cousin was telling me all that.
Well, for us, we had the solar on our pool, right? Which was great for April for the kids to get in, right? Because that takes that little cool. But don't forget it on in June, because 90 degrees is not really what you want to swim in.
No, you're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. You can reach out to Ed with questions at 209-404-1915 or visit lendingforliving.com. You can also email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Yes, so we're talking swimming pools today. It's a big deal because during it was the thing. Here. It's the thing, though, that we discovered during the pandemic that was the safest place to be.
Your swimming pool?
Swimming pool. COVID. Seriously, no joke. No joke.
Have you ever seen the video of the one kid who has a mask on trying to swim with a mask on?
Oh, sorry. I'm laughing way too hard.
That's okay, but I saw that. I was like, how can you tell me you're an idiot without telling me you're an idiot?
My dog swims, but no mask. I went camping and our neighbors kept him, and they went for the play date next door with this dog, the neighbor dog with the swimming pool. That's so when you're out of kids, I guess now it's dogs, and he can swim.
Our lab would
he's
get
a
out of
quarter
the
lab.
pool. Our lab it would chase a ball around the pool trying to get it, and then it would get it and pop the ball, of course. But that was, our kids hated it, because like wintertime would go outside to go to the bathroom, and the next thing you know, it's in the pool again. We'll take it in the garage, dry it off.
Yeah, so Murphy loves to swim. He learned from his Labradoodle cousin down in Hanford last year, and he loves to swim.
Our pool guy goes, "Your dog's been in the pool again, hasn't it?"
Yeah,
because the hair.
No,
the more chlorine and more everything because of the dog being in there.
Yep.
So it's either that or ducks. That was the worst part about this wintertime ducks with them. You have to. I tell everybody, scare them out of your pool, because if you leave them in there, they'll go to the bathroom in there and all the other stuff.
Yeah. So pool. When you put a pool in, Ed, does it really improve the value of the home?
About 10 grand.
About $10,000.
So that's the thing. Depends, right? And this is like, I heard this last couple of weeks ago at the event. I mean, everybody asked a question. They're like, "Well, it depends." And I know you heard about depends for other reasons.
Fortunately, I don't need them, but my age, that's a thing.
Yeah. All right. What was the question? What was the question? I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
Improving the value of your home.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. Most people would rather buy a house with a pool than put it in themselves. So it's going to increase your value because somebody else is going to want it. But if you spend 50 grand for a pool, you're only going to get about $10,000 for value, maybe to 15, depending on how nice the pool is. There's people like in Del Rio and other places, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're going to get 50,000 maybe. You do not get the same amount of money of what it costs, but you have to look at it this way. You're going to get the enjoyment of it. That's how we looked at it when we put the pool in a keepsake. Is I think it ran us at that time $40,000, but the enjoyment we got out of it with the kids in it and the barbecues we had there and all the other stuff.
Oh, I saved so much money by not having to travel with my kids when I had because raising my kids, I had swimming pool as well, right. and it was. Back home, we were the hangout place. Everybody came.
Like, can you guys go somewhere else?
Well, I
go to someone else's house, will you?
I took a playbook or a key from a playbook from an old neighbor when I was growing up. They had a flag on their fence, and when it was okay for anybody else's kids to come over, the flag was up. If it wasn't, the flag was down. So that was what we did at my house. And so if you showed up and the flag was down, sorry, come back later. Well, when are you going to? So then I had to put up like a little board that said when our pool hours were going to be. Because one of my sons was a skater too. And they would just skate up like, "Hey, the pool's open." No, pool's not open right now.
It's $5 per admission. Because we got to pay for the chlorine for all your kids.
Oh, Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God. No, I didn't care about that. You know what? They were really good. I have to say back then, those are long. It's been a long time ago. Good grief. My kids are in their 40s now, but
Yeah, that's like Blake. He was young when we had it. He would jump off that big edge, candy ball. A video of that.
I know it's so fun. So if you've got questions or comments for Ed, 209-404-1915, and you probably will today because we're going to talk about refi and all the things. How do you build your pool? It's going to be so many crazy things that have come from the COVID pandemic, right? Well, one of them was finding out that swimming was one of the safest things you could do, which brought on the biggest pool building season in recorded history of swimming pools. No kidding. Joining us when we come back, our favorite pool builders, Thomas Pools and Spas, and a member of their swimming pool design and sales team. You've got 3 minutes to tell your friends that Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV is having a swimming pool building expert on. So get on it, and we'll be right back.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
And we're back. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our incredible host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on. And now, as promised, the most in the know dude I know when it comes to the swimming pool industry, today's guest and my friend Ryan, design and sales with Thomas Pools and Spas Incorporated. Good day, Ryan.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it. How long you been in the swimming pool industry?
I've kind of grown up in it my whole life. Born into a family that's always done pools. First job was in the pool business. Did get out of it for a number of years. I came back, I think, at a wonderful time in the last few years. As I know in this industry, it's kind of feast or famine, and we've been riding a feast for a little while now. And so, I've just grown up in the business.
That's good. I think it's going to be that way for a while because people realize how much pools they need to have in their backyard. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we were talking about, Ryan, how the pandemic was like the best thing for the pool industry because it was determined that it was the safest place to be.
Well, and the salespeople, because everybody was home. And for me, what was nice is I got to go see people during the day and I was not running at night. And it was nonstop. It was lead after lead after lead. And it's still running strong like that. So, it's been great.
So what's been the downside though? How's the supply chain thing affected you?
It's hit and miss. It's been certain things it's kind of gone in waves. You have issues with different aspects of like the materials. The big one right now is it's all the equipment coming overseas, all the circuitry that we need to put together our panels, things like that. And it is slowing some things up, but most people have been pretty flexible. I mean, if we can't use this, we use another manufacturer. And so we find ways to overcome it. It's not a perfect system, but it's working. So,
well, at least you can get them done, right? That's the most important thing.
Yes, sir.
All right, Marlene, anything else you have there?
I have lots.
No,
I have
you
lots.
Well, she's looking at her. See, the problem is she's doing work on top of doing other
No,
work.
I'm not. I'm all in.
What's new in the pool industry? All right, so how crazy it's been for the last 2 years, let's just say 2.5. Anything new in the pool industry that's coming out since then? Or are they so far behind on all the other stuff? They're like,
technology's changed a whole lot, especially since I was a kid, is with like automation, lighting, things like that.
Hold on. Since you were a kid? 5 years ago?
I'm 40. But since growing up, I've seen a lot of changes there. I think probably the biggest one I run into, and I overheard you earlier, doing like the spool thing. Every backyard you run into now seems to be just much smaller than what you would typically want to put a pool in.
Right.
And that's when you combine both aspects, swimming pool, spa. I did the same thing in my own backyard. So
it's very cool.
No, because our last house on Keepsake, I mean, the lot was not our normal lot. It was the other people's lot because that was one of the last lots and it was taken over by the current developer. And so we had a huge backyard where we put our pool in the corner. So we could put a big pool in there. Now it's like, no, it's just, and everybody's like, the wires are in the way.
Right.
And we can't put them underground because So what in my neighborhood, we actually took the actual alley back, right? We moved our fences. So, but that's still that easement right there, even though we moved our fences.
Abandoned stuff back there. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So it'd be a spool. And so a spool, is that like because we were talking also off before you came on, we were talking about, we saw some shipping container pools that people have made. Have you seen those?
Oh, I have. I don't know how well they work. You know, the one thing nice about like the in-ground is it's the filtration systems. You know, when you build just a box in the ground, I don't know how well they're going to be able to circulate water.
It's going to be like it's going to make a spa. It's because it's above
Correct.
ground. It's like all that. So
lot more maintenance, I'm assuming, but there's a lot of cool things out there. You know, even fiberglass pools are fairly nice. So we happen to be in the in-ground gunite business. One thing I like about what I do with the in-ground is you're not limited to whatever's coming off the shelf, so to speak. You can design anything, any shape, any size, really custom fit it to accommodate what you're looking for. So
how popular are the plunge pools or the spools or whatever you want to call them?
I probably every other house I'm going to anymore. I mean, the backyards are putting out in like Lathrop, Manteca, Tracy. They're putting a lot of houses in a small area. And so they're giving people 15, 20 feet to the back fence. And so, you know, I got several pools that are under construction right now. They're 5 foot wide, you know, and
Wow.
that's a
small.
narrow pool, right?
Yeah. So before
We're talking to our very special guest, Ryan, Sales and Design with Thomas Pools and Spas Incorporated here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. You can reach out to Thomas Pools and Spas at thomaspoolsandspas.com. Those are plurals, thomaspoolsandspas.com, or dial 209-567-2732. If you need financing to build that pool, this is your place right here. And we're going to talk a little more about that. Reach out to Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. Or visit lendingforliving.com. Questions or comments about the show, you can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Okay, go back to it. Spools. Spools.
Right.
I love them.
Right. My question is, we did in a series when we did a Rotary function years and years ago, Marlene, there was a pool there that was like a spool, but it was raised above ground, like you could sit on the edge of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys build those kind of things? You know what I'm talking about? Where that's like part of the backyard and you can sit on the edge of the pool instead of actually having.
Yeah. I've seen that. A lot of people like doing things of that nature, just to maybe just add some aesthetic value to the backyard.
Or seating area too, you know, when you have people over.
It allows you to sit down, take your shoes off, slide your feet in. You don't got to walk into the pool, you know, especially maybe as we get older or we have any issues.
Watch it there. Marlene's going to get upset.
It does help out. You know, a lot of people do like doing that just for the
Marlene can lean her walker up against it. What you're saying.
I'm not going to say I could outwalk you, Ed, but I
you can hit me with your walker. Is that what you can say?
I'm still pretty flexible, pretty agile. I walk a lot.
Oh, good thing those guys are calling in, talking to you on your pictures.
Stop it. Anyway, Ryan, yes, you guys design some amazing stuff. I'll
give you my address after so you can go by, and my wife's there so you can tell her what you can put in the backyard. All right.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm for that.
Yeah, you guys have built some ones. I'm thinking one in particular that there was a water feature. It's a spool or whatever you call it. Do you call them that when it's a spa? And
yeah, I mean, I'll kind of present that aspect right out the gate. I did the design last night. They wanted pool spa. They have 20 feet to their back fence. I tucked it in there, but it doesn't look right. You got to walk around the spa to get to the pool. You know, by going. Really, it's a giant spa, small pool. It's something you can justify heating. It's not going to cost you a fortune, but you can also jump in and cool off. You know, a lot of people want to put all these things in their backyard and they just don't fit. And so it's a very good alternative because in a sense, you're just buying a pool and adding a heater. I mean, that's really all a spool is.
But it's smaller, so it doesn't cost you an arm and leg to heat the whole pool.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, now, and you guys have done stuff with like fire features, water. I've seen some of the stuff you've designed has been incredible.
We got one coming up in Alcampo, and it's got all the bells and whistles on it. It's got fire pits. It's got fire bowls with water coming off. It's got beach entrances. It's got raised areas. It's got a real Greek look to it, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to starting that one. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
No lazy river.
No lazy river, not yet.
All right. So how long does it take to build if you want to do it today, how long does it take to build a pool these days?
Very loaded question right there.
Mhm.
So there's two
If you have your design done,
there's just two answers. Most all builders are going to give you about a 3 to 4 month window to finish something.
but
in.
realistically,
Most pools get finished in around the 2-month range.
Okay.
Most people only remember that, but most companies do have like a 3 to 4 month window to get a pool done.
just, because I remember when we did ours years and years and years ago, it was like 2 months.
Yeah.
So it was,
And factors play into, you got good cities, you got bad inspectors, there's a number
What?
of things that can happen,
we
right?
have bad
So,
inspectors.
not bad, just maybe overstepping their bounds at times, right?
Well, whatever. Yeah. They just want that bag of cash left somewhere. So they
Right,
keep
right,
moving.
right.
Next thing you
You're
know, you're going to get that call. This is the county calling you, Mr. Parco.
I know that is the challenge though, isn't it, Ryan? It's between getting your parts and all the things, because there is still some supply side. You guys are very, very innovative in dealing with it, and have great relationships with the inspectors and all the cities and pulling permits and all of that. I mean, you guys have been doing it for so long and know.
What's nice is a majority of them have our personal cell phone numbers. They'll call if it's just a small issue. Hey, I saw this, we're going to pass it, but get over, take a picture, send it to me by the end of the day, and they'll just move forward. So most cities have done that for us.
Now, what do you do if the in between the houses are like not even 3 feet?
There's a number of different things you can do.
Take down the back fence of your neighbor. And
most cost efficient is removing fence panels. You can go to smaller equipment, but smaller equipment's more money. So
yeah. So you're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, and we're talking to Ryan, one of the talented swimming pool designers at Thomas Pools and Spas Incorporated. What's the most cost-effective pool shape, and what makes your eyes burn in a swimming pool? But it's not what you think. Stay with us and find out.
Our new reverse mortgage product limits can change the way you live out the rest of your life.
And we're back here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living, and our special guest, Ryan, part of the sales and design team at Thomas Pools and Spas Incorporated. Okay, so you're talking about what to do when there's just no room back there. We were talking pools, spas, we're talking different kinds of things. And we brought up, what if it's just right there against the fence? I mean, what do you do?
You gotta, you gotta look at all your options, right? You don't want to offer the most expensive one because they may not call you back when you send your bid over, right? However, there's a number of things. Fences down. Sometimes your neighbor's got an RV access next door to you. Maybe you can go through his yard, come down one fence panel. You can go to smaller equipment. Smaller equipment means more money, more times back and forth into the backyard. But there's always an option, right? It's just a matter of figuring out what's best for your financial situation. 2, what's going to work in your yard, right?
Oh, so I know my yard that we're going back to the back person. Yeah, because they only have part of their yard taken care of. They've been there forever, and it's like I know exactly where to go.
That's been kind of an easy part right now with all the new homes is we'll look over the fence. Nobody's landscaped next door yet. So,
Right.
Go make friends if you can. Right. So,
yeah, there is a way right.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Right, Ryan. I mean, that's kind of how that's your motto over there. Yeah.
You got to make it happen. I mean.
All right. So what's your service area?
We pretty much work from like Merced up through just below Lodi, go all the way out to the Altamont. Kind of stop short about like Oakdale. We don't really much go up the hill. Just
you don't go to Sonora anymore.
No, I just think the conditions are just it's not desirable for a lot of people. You run into a lot of issues. With rock and ground things like
dynamiting and that kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
So, but yeah, pretty big territory. Service all the major cities around here. So yeah.
Okay. What's the biggest challenge when you're building a pool?
Probably getting them to say yes. I think. Right. Once you overcome that part, the rest of it's pretty easy. It can be challenging at times. As you're building a pool and you're getting information from either building departments or from supply chain people, they tell you one thing and it can change 10 minutes after you just told the homeowner, and it's never fun having to go back and explain yourself why it didn't happen the way you told them, and it's a lot of times not your fault. It's just how construction happens. It's not always perfect. Most of the time it is. Truth of the matter with pools too is some pools get built fast, some don't, and there's no way of really judging who's is going to be who. So
on a spool, how deep are they usually?
I did mine about 4 foot deep, just kind of like a standard spa depth. Got another one going over in Riverbank. He put a 6 foot deep hole there, but he put a heater, jets on it, big old Cabo ledge. And so really whatever you want to do. The bigger you go though, the more money it's going to cost to heat that thing up. The longer it's going to take to heat up too.
Right.
So
is there a specific shape that's cheaper to build than others, or is that all a fallacy?
No, the mathematics is exactly the same. It's just all based on the square footage and then the perimeter footage. So whether you do a circle or you do a square, same price. It does seem like you get more for your buck with like a free form, because you're cutting corners. It's easier to get around a circle than it is a square. And so, as far as cost goes, perimeter goes, it does seem like you get a little bit more pool for your buck.
Now, in regular pools, how deep can you go? It depends on how big it is.
Yeah, I mean, the deepest I really much anymore goes like 8 foot. Most people stay around the 6 foot, which is included in the price. Really, when you start getting real deep again, you run into the same issues. It's more water you got to put in the pool. That's going to just probably make your pool a little colder. And there's really no need for it. Not many people are putting in diving boards or anything like that.
I was going to ask about that. You don't see diving boards. Why?
Because insurance.
So yeah, that's an aspect of it. But the problem is you need to have a big enough yard to accommodate it. You got to be so deep for so far out and so wide that most yards won't accommodate that. I mean, you can theoretically do that on a small base pool, but you're not going to have any shallow end. It's going to be all 8 foot depth, and that's people want a shallow end. So not many people do them, but we do a few.
We're talking to our very special guest, Ryan, Sales and Design with Thomas Pools and Spas Incorporated, here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. You can reach out to Ryan at thomaspoolsandspas.com. That's thomaspoolsandspas.com, or you can dial 209-567-2732. You need financing to build that pool? Well, I know a guy. Know a couple of them actually, or maybe you need a bigger yard for that new pool. So get pre-approved by dialing Ed here at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. If you have questions or comments about the show, you can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Your favorite pool that you've ever worked on, Ryan? Describe it.
Mine. I built most all of it myself. Took me about a year to do it. But we finished it a month and a half ago. My wife was beyond happy to have our backyard back because the dog couldn't go back there. And if you have a dog and you can't put them in your backyard, I'm sure you know what that's like. But now that it's done, we get in regularly, as does my dog now. My dog gets in with or without permission daily. So
yeah. Is it a lab?
No, it's I have 2 dogs, but it's a Malamute. So okay. I have a giant husky. So
no, because we were talking before. I had a lab, and that thing would jump in there in December.
Oh yeah,
and then kids would have to dry it, and they'd be so upset.
Yeah,
because it's either them or me, and I'm not.
Okay, so other pools.
I have a question. Do you go to Sacramento?
No, we don't go up there.
That was for the engineer.
Yeah. I got friends that do pools up there.
Yeah,
so
we'll connect them.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
So describe the pool. Okay, besides your own, Ryan.
I have a number of them that I've really liked working with the people that I did them for. A lot of the people I've helped, kind of create their dream for them, I guess you could say. A lot of them become my friends. I talk to them on the phone. I swing by there when I'm in the area. A couple in particular I've learned, especially like engineers. They learn more about swimming pools than I'll ever need to know. And they pass that information to me as far as like how the hydraulics work and upgrading like the plumbing sizes and things like that, stuff that doesn't necessarily need to happen, but stuff I would never have even looked into if I hadn't sold some pools to some engineers. So I wouldn't say I have a favorite one. I kind of like them all. I mean, I like swimming pools. Me and my dad, when we go on vacation, which he's down in Mexico right now, we go look at pools. We're that kind of family. Like we want to see how they do it in other countries and hotel pools. It's just what we do. Me and him regularly go out to the trade shows. not really something a sales guy normally does, but that we go just to learn about new stuff, and when and where we can, we present it to people. And one thing my dad always taught me is, like, I still get the pool and spa magazines. I read them. The minute you stop trying to learn in what you do, you become ignorant. And so to be a student in whatever you do is very important, so.
Very true.
What's the coolest thing, new thing that you can get accessory wise for swimming pools? What do you?
I think the coolest thing right now, and I didn't do it on mine, and I recommend it to some people. I really think it's cool to put a table down in your pool, not a built-in one,
Right.
because once it's built in, it's always going to be there, and they have issues that can come up. But with the ones you can get, like from SR Smith, it's just basically an umbrella sleeve bottom of the pool. Now you can hang out in your pool, play cards, have a soda, whatever you drink.
Soda.
Right?
Oh, that's what everybody's doing, having a soda in their pool. That was so PG.
Ryan's good at that.
That's all we drink in my pool. My wife will laugh when she hears that. So
No, because we had that umbrella one for the umbrella, and they're like, don't leave it in there because the window, cracked that, and it's anyway. How are people still using chlorine? Are they doing salt? What's the new thing? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly. Of course, I know.
I know you know, but I'm just saying.
That's
The
what I do
question
for a
is,
living.
what do most people do? I didn't like chlorine. Some people like the salt.
I use chlorine. I have a couple devices I haven't put on my pool yet, like ozone generating, UV light. There's salt. They make devices that you could remotely test your chemicals with reservoirs. You can remotely chlorinate your pool. I personally, right now, I'm still using chlorine because it's a giant spa. Every time I heat it up, I have to service my pool, so I take care of it myself. When you do like just a pool once a week, it's easy to have a pool guy. Salt's a really nice thing right now, especially with the cost of chlorine going through the roof. It doesn't prevent you from having to occasionally put some chlorine in, and it doesn't take care of the service. You still have to do your pH and all that. But there's just so many things that are out there. I mean, there's more stuff than I'll never present to people just because it's so vast, but salt's a great way to go. UV, it's just all personal preference.
Because if you have a spa right now, those are the most pain in the butt to take care of, right? To keep the chemical base and all that kind of stuff. So how do you do it with a bigger spool?
It's gonna kind of the same. Well, if you're using it as a pool, it's gonna keep the residuals in there much longer than if you heat it up. So each and every time you heat it up, you're baking the chemicals out. And so it does require you to go out there. I have little test strips. You stick it in, you match it up to the bottle, and you just put a little in, right?
It's easier for some than others. All right.
It's routine, right?
Yeah. Do you guys service them?
Yeah, we do have service. Yeah.
Yeah, because the biggest problem is when you have a square, little spa, trying to keep those chemicals because it's hot all the time is very difficult to keep it right. You constantly have to deal with it.
Again, like I was saying, there are devices that you can put on that we'll test that remotely. And then what's nice is anytime your equipment's running, it'll so to speak, put like a drip into your pool, and you're slowly feeding chemicals in on a constant basis. So there's things you can overcome, like even the issues that I'm having. I haven't taken that step yet. I kind of like going out there and working on my pool. I go sit in a chair and stare at it all the time. My wife thinks I'm weird. So.
Well, I definitely would put one of those devices on it so I don't have to worry about it.
Right. They do have that, and you can run it from your phone. That's what's.
I've seen them, but they don't have it for spas. That would only be a built-in.
Yeah, like above grounds, no, they don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Built-in, yes.
Yeah. That's
it's like a drip IV.
Right.
So, do we want to do the elephant in the room? What is the? And I know it's all over the place. How much they cost these days?
Yeah. Well, is there an average cost per square foot, or is there any of that?
That's all trade secrets there, but
Okay.
no, I'm just kidding. A basic pool, just basic with, because we include everything you need for a pool. Every company does. It's kind of a starting point, and you build upon it a la carte. But I would say a basic pool, a few extras, because there's always a little something there. You're probably in like about the 50 range. Pool spa starting around like 70. It seems like a lot of them are coming in closer to like the 75 range.
Wow.
Pool spa. But that's with nice features.
I'm not knocking your prices.
Equipment.
I'm just going, wow, what a difference in prices from like 15 years, 20 years ago.
From 3 years
I don't
ago.
want to. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
So-
I mean, look at the price of fuel alone, and you guys are driving out to every job. That's the thing that cracks me up is that when somebody considers what it takes, what goes into, you just mentioned using alternative equipment, but I mean, there for a while, was it 2 years ago? The concrete was, I mean, crazy.
It's gunite. You guys use gunite, right? And
Correct,
so
yeah.
did that, and I assume that went up with the same cost as concrete.
Everything along the way has gone up.
Yeah.
And not just that, it's labor shortage too. I mean, you sometimes have to pay people a little bit more because you can't find enough people. I mean, you're going to ask a guy that has to do a normal 40-hour week job. We really kind of need 60 hours of work out of you, and you got to compensate people for that, So
Gotcha. All right. Anything else we didn't think of before we go? That this is your trade.
I think we covered.
All
quite
right,
a
just
bit there.
checking. I want to make sure we didn't miss anything.
It's a fun adventure. I built mine for the first time. What's neat about it, like even on the way here, my family's calling, hey, can we come by and we'll go through the side gate, use your pool. It's nice that
Tell them to go build their own. They're part of their family.
Right. And I'd build it for them, right? But it's nice just that we have a place now that we can start entertaining at our house. We've always been the family, went to her sisters or my mom or my aunts, and now we have the house with the pool that we can do, 4th of July, Easter, birthdays, whatever it may be, or just go hang out by ourselves in the back, right? I mean, we don't have to go anywhere. So.
Yep. Barbecue.
Yay.
Ryan, thanks for being here today.
Hey, not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to Real Estate Jerky and our amazing guest, Ryan, sales and pool design at Thomas Pools and Spas. When we come back, we'll talk more about swimming pools, home improvements, homes, and real estate. If you have any questions, please reach out to Ed at 209-404-1915 or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. More to chew on always, so don't go anywhere.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
And we're back. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our host, Ed Parco, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. Ed's ready for your questions, so reach out to him at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. Swimming pools. Did you grow up with a swimming pool? I did not.
Yeah, it was called the canal bank. Right, you jumped in the
Yeah,
canal.
cow trough or the canal bank.
No, I never grew up with a pool. No.
No, neither
And,
did.
and never got invited to other people's pools.
Well, we lived out in the sticks. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if we got invited.
Well, we were on West Avenue South in Turlock. So that was like right next to the cabinet shop, which is now all industrial.
How'd you live? So when did you learn to swim? How did you learn to swim?
When I started doing triathlons is when I taught myself how to swim.
Not till then.
Yep. Well, I mean, people jump in pools. That's not swimming.
No. But I mean,
And
I
like
actually,
swimming, like
that's
actually.
interesting.
Yeah.
I actually learned to swim. I had swimming lessons, even though we were country kids and all that. My dad was really big on it. So
Yeah, well,
little, even though we had no place to really.
my parents are only big on drink, and out. Anyway.
Oh, wait. Sorry about that. Trauma. But yeah, it was really weird. It was like, go swimming lessons, and then not be able to use it anywhere. Although my dad worked for back in the day, sold tractors. So it was kind of interesting. And that was Jim Quinn was his boss. Like, yes, Quinn, Caterpillar Quinn. Yeah. And we would go to their house and go swimming, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Was an in-ground, a cement pond.
Yeah.
Cement pond. So
Only the pond we had was a while back of the dairy.
that the dairy. Yeah.
And that's not
Oh, well,
something
you
you
ain't
want.
gonna swim in
You don't
that.
want to or fall into that
Oh,
or get
God.
close to that or anything.
Okay, how do we go there? Anyway.
Well, it's funny, Ryan talking about it took him a year to build his pool. That is the worst thing about having a contractor do their own work.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You're so busy doing so many other things yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it is lovely. I saw the plans.
Mhm.
I haven't seen it yet, even though they've invited. It's
It's amazing. And it's amazing the cost. And I don't mean that wrong, but how expensive they are today compared to how they used to.
Well, everything across the board to do with building the pool, without exception, including the fuel to drive there and run the equipment, it's all at least 50% increased since in the last 2 years. So yeah, it is surprising. So what about that? Can you do loans for that?
Everybody, it's just a refinance, or you can do a HELOC, which a lot of times people will do the line of credit to do it, and then they'll refinance it afterwards. But and that way they keep pulling on it for what they need. Oh, let's add this in now. Okay, here's a little bit more money.
So what do you recommend?
Well, I recommend figuring out how much it's going to really cost and getting your loan for that and being done with it. But it depends. I mean, if you got a 2.75 interest rate right now, you're probably better off getting a HELOC, right? And then once rates.
What is a HELOC? So
home equity line of credit.
Okay.
So it's basically, it's like a second mortgage, but it's not. There's no fixed rates. The problem is it's adjustable and it's based off of prime. So whatever the Fed does is going to affect that interest rate. But usually for the first year, it's set at one number, and then after that it can adjust. And for the first 10 years of that, it's interest only. So what happens is once it turns from interest only to the full payment, 10 years later, people are freaking out, going, "My payment went from $250 to $300 to now $1,000 a month to pay this off." Yes, that's how that works. So at that point, you definitely want to refinance. So what happened was during the pandemic is rates were so cheap, people were pulling $100,000 out to do their backyard, and it didn't cost them anything technically, because their payment was the same or still went down because what the rate they were have. Now, if you take $70,000 out and you have it could cost you $900 a month. Yeah. So it just depends on how much you're taking out, So you just have to really look at it. And sometimes it makes a lot of sense, and because you're making so much more money now. Did you know I saw a thing that in April, 4.4 million people quit their jobs?
Why?
That's a good question.
Why would how?
Summer's coming. Got to take the time off to go do nothing.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our host, Ed Parco. Amazing. MBA, veteran, and president of Lending for Living. You can reach out to Ed with questions or comments at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. You can also email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. I don't get it. When you say things like that,
well, that's like Ryan said, it's so hard to find people to work, right?
But who feeds these people?
Their parents.
I
don't know. I have no idea.
You would not do that. I would not do that. Who are these people?
Government feed them. I don't know. Unemployment.
I don't get it.
That's like when I was in, where was I at? When we were in New York a month ago for that Steve Sims. We were in Central Park, Courtney and I, who's the agent out of Las Vegas,
Courtney
right?
Buford.
Yeah.
Yep.
1 minute. That's it. So there was a thing, to get evaluated for your mental at that point to see if you needed help.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that's the world we live in right now and what's going on with the government. So if you don't, hopefully people got out there and voted and voted right. And I don't mean like voted right or left. Just
that was the primary. We still have a
people.
chance. We still have a chance. We have till November to figure this all.
As long as enough people, as long as the top two people weren't Democrats, we have till November. Remember that. So what are you going to do? I don't know.
Pray hard, pray hard.
I'm just going to keep doing loans and keep doing. And like I said before, we're doing reverse mortgages seminars now, weekly, and we're doing, other loan programs, first time home buyer and move up or whatever you want it. Cause even if it's a first time home buyer and you want to do something else, jump on there to see what's going on with the new stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be the first time. It could be your second time. Could be many times. I tell you what, this is so much fun. All right. I think we're pretty.
It is fun. It is. You know what? The best part is, Ed, this is as difficult as things are because the interest rates going up, prices gone up. When we started this back in 2018,
August,
we started it because people weren't buying houses and things were slow and the prices were down and because we realized a lot of younger folk weren't buying houses because they didn't think they could. And that's changed and that's great. And I appreciate that you had that vision.
Yeah. I'm glad those folk have started buying houses. Had to do that. All right, and we're at the end of our show.
No.
Yes, it is. End
No.
of the. It's
Already?
Yeah, and I gotta say, one of the longest hours of my week. Just kidding. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to our great guest Ryan, who is what's Ryan's last name? Wolfe, and he's the sales and design with Thomas Pools and Spa. You can reach out to Ryan or any of the Thomas Pool and Spa teams at thomaspoolsandspa.com. That's ThomasPoolsAndspas.com. Did you get that? And if you have any questions for me, you can reach me by dialing 209-404-1915. Again, that's 209-404-1915. lendingforliving.com or edparco.com. You can also email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. In the weeks ahead, we'll be visiting with Sheriff Dirksey and getting an update on crime in Stanislaus County, weighing in on the primary elections results, and so much more. If you missed any of today's show, you can find us via podcast. Download the iHeart app on your mobile device. We're proud to live in this land of opportunity where you can still build personal wealth through home ownership. Join us here on Join us here on Real Estate Jerky, where we always give you something to chew on every Saturday at 12 noon and Sundays at 10 a.m. here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. Marlene, thanks for joining me today.
And thank you so much. It's always a good time.
All right. Well, my MLS license number is 235384, and we'll talk to you next week.
'Cause we got small town.